I'm happy to be talking to Jane Jabbour today, and she has a book she's written. How exciting, a book writer. Yeah.
My first.
Yeah, and this is Deep South Native Plants for the Home Garden, and I think this is great fun because you didn't just say, this chapter's about so-and-so, and da-da-da-da-da-da about this plant. You created this whole world of people on a bus trip.
Yes, that was sort of the frame for this book. And my thinking was that it would give a little lightness and levity to a subject that's, the scientists have already covered the subject pretty well. And they've written these wonderful big books that deal with thousands of species. I wanted something that would be more like a pocket handbook to a small selection. And so I created this story of a bus going on a trip through the South.
The bus driver is Mr. Zumbayski. Zumbayski.
Yeah, he zooms by. And I'm the tour guide.
Yeah.
So that was the inspiration for
And you've got Mrs. Wondering All, Mr. Grousington, and Mr. Lumpsky. So the men seem to be somewhat grumpy on this trip, which is kind of funny. But anyway, it's great fun, and they do go through the Deep South. And so, we'll go to one state and talk about two things there. Although, as you point out, these plants grow all over. They're not just distributed in these states that we talk about them in. It just makes it more fun. It's an easy, fun read.
It's an easy read.
But I think one of the things that we all want to do now is create habitat. And it all flows together, I believe.
Yes. My thinking for the choice of selections here was to introduce people who might be new to the South and who might not know anything. And frequently our local nurseries would say, people will come in and they're from New Jersey or they're from Detroit, and they come in and say, I'm ready to go with gardening in the South.
Okay.
Where do I begin? And what a good idea to point them towards native plants.
Absolutely. So critical for the continuation of life.
Exactly.
We could talk about a few of them that that are outstanding to plant, and you could extrapolate them. How about that? Okay. Well, coneflowers.
Coneflowers are first of all, we'll say they're pretty.
That helps.
People like color in their gardens. Sad to say, many people want a flower that'll give them color 12 months of the year, and of course we know that's not the case. You need to kind of put in a variety to get a succession of color. But the coneflowers do come in a number of colors, and they add quite a bit of pop, but they're really significant sources of pollen and nectar for our pollinators. And as you know, that's become a critical theme these days.
It has.
We've got to have the pollinators because it's no longer a single flower in isolation. It's a flower as part of this web of life.
And then I think it was Mr. Grousington who said, you were talking about Joe Pyeweed. He said, I don't want any weeds in my yard. So Joe Pyeweed is just a wonderful plant. Let's talk a little about it. It is
such a great plant with such an unfortunate name. But yes, it's got a lot going for it. It's a fabulous pollinator. You can go out. I've been out in my backyard to look at the Joe Pyeweed when it's in full bloom. And you will see, if you hold still and watch, you will see maybe 6 different species of pollinators. So it's a winner for the pollinators. But it has other virtues as well.
Well, it's easy to grow. You talked about seeing some on a railroad track. Yeah. I mean, crazy. Just easy. It's a weed. I mean, it's nice to have something that's easy to grow.
It prefers neglect.
Yeah.
It really wants to be neglected. The other thing, and I mentioned this to you earlier, that it has hollow stems.
Yes. And so don't be too tiny. What's the importance of hollow stems?
Right. We tend to want to go out there and chop down when things are over and the season's changing.
Tidying up for winter.
Yeah. Okay. Now what we've learned is there's a lot going on with those hollow tubes that are left over. That's where overwintering is taking place for our native bee population.
Isn't that wonderful?
It's great. So here was my experience. I went to a lecture on bees.
Okay.
And there were native bees that were overwintering in these hollow stems. And the PowerPoint showed me what was going on inside.
Whoa.
And there's one after another, after
Chamber.
another, after
Whoa.
another chamber.
Gosh.
And I thought, that sounds interesting. I'm going to go out in my backyard.
Oh, and look.
And I'm going to be a little home scientist, and I'm going to cut some and look and see what's going on. And by goodness, you just couldn't believe it. Clear as a bell. There were those chambers.
Oh.
And that was because I had left some Joe Pye stalks.
Yeah. People don't think of, ferns as being important in the ecological balance, but we do have a good many native ferns that do provide overwintering sites and things like that. And the Christmas fern is the one I like so much because if you look at one of the individual fronds, it looks like Santa Claus is in the back and the sleigh's out front. But anyway, and it just grows everywhere so easily.
It's another winter, and good for putting in a shady area. A lot of people are concerned about, what do I plant under my trees? What will grow in the shade? Ferns are a good bet. They do well, and they're very important, as you mentioned, as a source of overwintering for the insects.
Yeah. Everybody loves bearded iris, but we've got a couple of native iris, and one is very small and very dear.
Yes, I love that plant. It's a dwarf crested iris.
Uh-huh.
And Iris cristata is its Latin name. And it grows, I'm going to say, even though the books say put it in a damp environment and give it a lot of water, I've seen it growing well in shade. Mm-hmm. And it comes back year after year. We've had some underneath a pine tree for many years.
So you could mix that in with some of the ferns if you wanted to lightly plant under trees. You want to leave a lot of the ground there for the caterpillars to fall and all that. But you could.
There's a couple of other low-growing. There's Indian pinks.
Yes.
Which has a bloom. People want that color.
They are so red. Woo.
Bright red. And it doesn't get too tall, maybe like that. And that's a nice one. And it does very well in shade.
Gosh, isn't that fun? The red bee balm has a funny story associated with it. It was used to make tea.
Yes. Everyone knows about the Boston Tea Party.
Throwing all the tea overboard.
Throw the tea overboard because it came from the Brits, the big bad Brits.
You need something to drink in the morning.
You gotta have your something in the morning. And the Native Americans taught the colonists about this plant, bee balm, as a good tea substitute. And that's what they used. It was a way of sort of registering your protest against the British, is to drink this bee balm tea.
I haven't tried it. Maybe a little sugar, a spoonful of sugar.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with the smooth oxeye, but you said it's one I need to become familiar with.
Yes, the smooth oxeye has a bunch of other common names. So if you wanted to look it up, you might look under smooth oxeye or sun-facing sunflower. But it's a long bloom. Its great virtue is that it starts and it keeps going.
You said maybe 10 weeks.
Yeah, I think 8 to 10 weeks.
Uh-huh.
That's my estimate. Yeah. I wasn't out there with the calendar, but it just went on and on.
And this one you can cut. I like to bring flowers in the house. Mm-hmm. And you said this one's a great cut flower.
Yeah, great for cut flowers, great for the birds, the pollinators, and it's really colorful and it lasts.
There you go. Isn't that fun?
Yes.
And then a woody plant that I've known it, I've seen it in the wild, the Viburnums, the Walter's Viburnum, and the straight species is kind of rangy and blah, blah, blah. But you said there's one that you've been growing, a cultivar, and tell me about that one.
We're talking about a plant called Walter's Viburnum.
Thank you.
And the species is called Mrs. Schiller's Delight.
Okay.
The great virtues of this plant are that it is evergreen. Everybody wants an evergreen. It has blooms, so it's better than boxwood in a way because it's covered with white blooms.
Which is going to attract the pollinators.
Exactly. And it is followed by lovely berries. Huh. Hello, birds.
Which somebody's going to enjoy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think did I mention it smells good? The flowers smell wonderful.
Gosh.
I mean, here's a plant you can't, it's just fabulous.
Yeah. And boxwoods have so many problems, and so many people are losing all theirs. So I just say, and this one you said doesn't get too big.
Not too big. You can trim it up like
Sure,
a boxwood.
Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah, or let it go.
Or let it go, yeah. And then the black-eyed Susan. Who doesn't like black-eyed Susans?
Right. It's a great favorite, good for cut flowers, but also one where it's fine to leave it behind and let the birds have some of those seeds.
And again, hollow stems.
Right, hollow stems.
The monarchs are, talk about under distress and distressing situation, and they feed on, their larvae only feed on milkweed.
Correct.
But I think that some milkweeds are more attractive to their larvae than others. What's been your experience?
Well, you know, that's probably true. All I know is that most of the official advice is to plant something called Asclepias tuberosa. It has a sort of a bright orange bloom. The blooms are really pretty. But I put it in, and it came back for 1 year, maybe a little bit less the second year, and then it disappeared. So it has not done very well for me. Other people may have success, but you said you did pretty well with
swamp
with the swamp
milkweed, which
milkweed.
my friend Laura Lee Rose grows and sent me some starts of, and it just was tiny at first, but then last year it got huge, and the year before, and just covered. I mean, I was worried about the poor little caterpillars because they ate it all up. And but it makes seeds, and I've got more coming up. So I just think it's a great one. And again, I leave the stems up. You know, I don't cut it all the way back because somebody's going to make use of those.
Right.
But it's pretty good.
You know, you mentioned something that reminds me. Sometimes caterpillars will demolish the plant, and you say, "My goodness!"
I know.
Wait 2 or 3 days and watch carefully, and you may well see new growth popping back out.
The passion vine.
The passion vine
They just
does
eat
that.
everything, eat it to
And
the
it
ground.
comes right on back.
with
Exactly.
vigor.
And you're like, well, that worked pretty well. Nature knows what it's doing.
You and your partner, Lynn Meffert, got so excited after reading Doug Tallamy that y'all decided to start a native plant nursery, maybe the first one in the state.
Yes, I don't know about the state, but we were certainly early in Charleston. There was a native plant society, small sort of beginning group, which we joined. And then we were so enthusiastic about natives, we decided to propagate them and use our own backyard as a place to, you know, offer plants for people who are interested.
Yeah.
So our friends in the Native Plant Society came, and the word spread. And before we knew it, native plants were getting to be a thing.
Yeah, I know. People were just walking, knocking on your door constantly, or just making their way to the backyard.
Right.
And you said that one of the things is when people come, they get so excited because this is so pretty, and this is so pretty, and this is so pretty. But if you have a small yard and you can't have masses, it's so important to have group things because that helps the animals find them. If there's just a single thing.
Right. One of the things I tried to point out in the book is that the research, the science really supports the idea of diversity. So you want several species if possible, but also you have to balance that with the fact that one plant is not going to have much of an impact. So a grouping of plants and another plant in groups, those kinds of arrangements are what really work the best.
Yes, they do. And so I wanted to end with something that you wrote, and I will let you read it.
Finally, I've approached the subject with a smile in hopes that you share my vision that each of us in doing good can feel gratified and empowered, knowing that our personal landscapes can be tools for expressing our deep affection for the earth. We can make conscious, positive garden choices. We can each be individual strands in the amazing woven tapestry of all life.